Hi guys, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel. Excuse my voice today. This is the weekly tarot card for the week commencing Monday, the 3rd of February 2020, and it is the Nine of Swords. Quite a brutal looking card in Rorig, but it brings in more of the sort of mental health issues and also self-harm aspects of this card. So the Nine of Swords, you can see there's a big eye, there's a cut, there's blood, there's tears, it's a beautiful looking card, but yeah, it has a meaning. Before I go on though, what I'd like to say is Rorig deck isn't really available anymore. The big deck that I don't use it so much now because it's quite valuable, and I'd rather use the smaller deck of it, but these are getting difficult to get as well. If you just fancied a look at the cards themselves, the book is sold separate. It's the Rorig Tarot book. Now, just to show you the detail that you get in this book, look at the pictures. There's the Nine of Swords, you know, a few words underneath. He doesn't go into great detail with the cards. He wants you to see it, but what he said about this card, fanaticism and self-punishment, cruelty towards oneself, nightmares and self-blame. Oh no, not the nightmares. So, Nine of Swords. Now, in general, what does that mean for the world? We're back from that sense of positivity to the overriding feeling of anxiety, fear, even pessimism, lack of belief in, when it's personal, it's lack of belief in ourselves. But if you look at it globally, it's maybe lack of belief in our power within certain countries, within certain regimes, within the ways that things are going. Now, what I need to say is the Nine of Swords does not predict bad things, okay? It doesn't say, like, this is going to happen and it's going to be bad. It's the fear of things happening. So, if we look at that globally, that will have the effect of most of us feeling more anxious, more kind of jittery, and as countries and as world population, just generally a heightened feeling of, oh, what next, it must be bad, and it doesn't necessarily need to be bad at all. Where this can be a problem is if certain regimes or certain people who have control as such, if they start feeling this card and the anxiety hits them and it starts to build up, if you're a normal person, you'll feel disempowered, you'll feel as though you're quite powerless, and you'll maybe turn things in on yourself. But if we think of the narcissists out there, if we think of the dictators out there in the world, this energy actually can cause difficulties in that they tend to go the other way. Instead of accepting the anxiety and the worry, they then use it as a way to bite back or hit back. And I'm sure we'll see that in many cases. There's again so much going on in the world. There's the USA impeachment trial in the Senate, which this could be very relevant to. Scottish independence, trials going on. Michael Avenatti in New York, and against Nike. There's all sorts of things going on within government, even the aspect of Middle East peace plans. France, oh my goodness, I wish this card weren't out, but because it represents an overall anxiety and jitteriness and self-blame, the general population need to get a handle on it, and the megalomaniacs need to be put in a room where they can't do any harm. Okay, you'll understand where I'm coming from. it's a weird vibe that I'm asking the general population to kind of put the lid on this energy, and the way you can do that is obviously to try and meditate more, to smudge. I've got my nice white sage going, and it does help, and also a lot of prayer and a lot of focus on the people that we really want to protect from negativity. So that's the world situation. Again, have a wee look at the card. In the traditional decks, like Rider-Waite, this has the woman sitting up in bed with all the swords beside her and her head down. It will bring more nightmares, and it will bring more night terrors, unfortunately, and no sleep next week then. And also, I've been talking about this on my channel, about this aspect building up, so maybe do some more on that next week. Anyway, what does it mean for you personally? If we look, remember it's a general card, but if it does hit you in the area of career, the chances are that you might have made some sort of wee mistake, or no mistake at all, but are just feeling that you're maybe not good enough for the position that you're in, or that you've maybe sat an exam or gone for a job and you're maybe not going to get it, and turning all that inward. I didn't study enough, I wasn't good enough, this, that and the next thing. But remember, this card does not predict bad things, it's the fear of them. And fear is the one thing that can take us into darkness and feed all sorts of depression and all sorts of stuff. So even addictions. So try and move away from the fear if you can. Just in job this week, get your head down, do it, and then have plenty of me time, pamper time, or relaxation time away from work. And that's the best I can say on that for the week ahead. If we look at health, this card simply takes me to eyes and eyesight. It also takes me to more of the diseases of the eye, like runny eyes, when you get infections in the eyes and they're forever running and red. Also, potential for little accidents. When we feel anxious, we can also feel chaotic. And when we're chaotic and we don't feel we've got control of things, that's when we get bashed, or we, stand on a plug, or I've got a thing at the moment of bashing my arm off door handles. And at one point last week, I had 5 bruises and 3 cuts, and it's simply because I go through the same door and always leave my arm behind to bang on that. So maybe that's getting older, or it's just that I feel spiritually I'm not quite with us all grounded at the moment, so I'll need to ground more. What I'm trying to say is, when I get these cuts and bruises on my arm, I need to ground more. I need to sit with some hematite, or I actually do like black obsidian for grounding. So health wise, from the anxiety point of view, ground yourselves, be nice to yourselves. Try and keep your spatial awareness top, otherwise wee accidents will happen with this. Pardon me. And remember, those of you that maybe suffer from addictions or things that can make you feel bad about yourself, like binge eating, like going back to alcohol, blah 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 blah, just give yourself a pat on the back and keep going, because this again does not predict that you will binge or you will go back to alcohol or whatever. It predicts the anxiety and the lowness within yourself that could tip you towards that. So please be very, very careful with that. If you're in a relationship and it's longer term and it's been going okay, don't let outside fears be put onto the relationship. One partner's having worries in their job, worries they might be made redundant, whatever. They'll be anxious, they might not be feeling good enough, and sometimes the answer is to come home and dump that on the partner at home, and then the partner at home feels insecure, feels anxious, and it goes like this all the time. And it's important that we don't bring our own anxieties and our own problems and worries that are not based on things. I mean, sometimes we do need to bring things home to a partner and say, look, this is happening. But if the anxiety is coming from within, in a kind of, because of the build-up of the influence of this card, say, just in the universe, don't dump things on your partner, but do explain that you are feeling anxious, you are feeling shattered, you're not feeling very confident in yourself. That's the way to handle this card in relationships. If you're looking for a relationship, I think this card just says work on your own inner strengths, and learn not to debilitate yourself by your own thoughts. Don't let negative thoughts get in the way of you understanding your due and you're worth a good relationship. This card can be good if you work with it, believe it or not, because it can teach. If you work with all these feelings, you can come out the other end and saying, I'm not going to dumb down my life for a relationship. If you get what I'm meaning there, maybe put up with things that you wouldn't normally just because you're feeling insecure in yourself. So that can work quite well. But the overall influence on health is mental health issues, is pressure, is anxiety, is sleeplessness, is lack of self-worth. Fight. Do whatever you can to negate this card, and if it won't go away, then rather than trying to fight it, sit with that and try to figure out what you're meant to learn from it and how you can come through this stronger. And remember, it does not say that something bad is going to happen. It's the fear and the anxiety of what could happen. And it's not a very pleasant world at times at the moment. And with the news, we hardly ever see good news. We're always bombarded with bad news. And I think when we get this card out, it's important that we all realise that there's so much good news and so much good in the world, and we just don't hear about it because it doesn't pay. The big news course, it's better to have a big stushy than something nice about a polar bear, say. That's just the way it is. Money. You might find the bills coming in and you're thinking, oh, why did I overspend at Christmas or January? And start getting at yourself with this influence. Try and accept if you've overspent. I'm accepting it. I am starting from scratch. February is my month to start getting some cash behind me. That's the only way to do this when it comes out as a personal financial card. Doesn't mean bad things are going to happen. It means that you may just have to kind of pull yourself back from self-blame and putting yourself down. I'm rubbish with money, I'll never have money. Believe me, if you think that way, you never will have money. Spiritually, some people are moving. I've been talking about this in some groups. There's a movement to get us off a plateau at the moment. We've all been plateauing. And sometimes when we plateau because everything's going on in the world, it's quite pleasant to stay there. Spiritually, it's like, right, I know this and I know that, and the other bit of learning and the next bit, I'll do that when I'm ready and everything's calmer. And we're at the end of a plateau as far as I'm concerned, and that plateau means that we need to address our fears. And to get to the next level, this card is actually bringing in even spiritual fears in the form of maybe visions that you've not had before, contact with spirit world, contact with elementals, more dreaming, more astral projection. And if you're not used to those sort of things, believe me, they will scare the living daylights out of you. And talk to me if that happens. Email me if you want. Because I think I've been through most scaredy spiritual things, well, a lot so far. But if these things are to kick you off the platform, it's like you've stayed there too long, humanity. You've been on a plateau. Now, if you don't jump, we're going to push you. And the push is bringing out a sense of anxiety in spiritual people, and an awful lot of experience that they've never had before. In so many of my emails or whatever, there's people saying, Colette, have you ever seen a being that looks like such and such, such and such. And I'm like, yep. And they're saying, if you ever feel that you did this in a dream? And I'm like, come on, keep going. Or people that are so out there with it that they're like, I need to tell you something, but you're never going to believe it because I don't believe it, and blah, blah, blah. I saw such and such or whatever. And I'm like, tell me, you'll not shock me. You really won't shock me. I've found that I can be quite a good person to offload to if you're having very weird spiritual experiences at the moment. So my email address is in the description box below. I don't take money for anything like that, but you can buy me a wee coffee if you want. The link's down below, and I'll have a coffee while I read your emails. So week ahead. General anxiety in the world, general anxiety within us. Let's deal with it. Instead of showing you my memoirs book or my tarot book, I'm going to say that this video is sponsored by How to Read an Egg, Divination for the Easily Bored by Colette Clairvoyant. Been out about 4 years, I think. It's my journey into spiritual practices that I've never tried before, because I found out that my granny on my dad's side used to read eggs for people. She lived in a tenement in Glasgow, and people used to bring eggs to be read, and I was like, what? So then what happened was I decided to try egg reading myself, and then I thought, well, if I've done that, I might try rumpology, try mole reading, try whatever. It's a funny book because I get you to do them along with me, and I also have some great stories on the way that, anyway, you might like it. It actually sells better in the USA than it does in the UK, and I don't know, I find that quite interesting. It's never really been a thing in the UK, but in the USA you seem to love the humour in it, so fair enough. If you like it and you buy it and you read it and you like it, give it a wee review. Anyway, let's all get the white sage burning, let's all get the grounding crystals out, and let's all get ready for feeling the balls a wee bit anxious and in danger. And remember, if that comes out from the earth, from the mother herself, then there could be more floods, more this, that, next thing, more earthquakes. Let's try and dampen everything down, whether it be with sacred herbs, ritual or prayer. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. Many blessings, and I'll see you soon for next week's weekly tarot card.